the evening to come and join us for our webinar. I am going to do a quick overview of trade ideas. Just, you know, kind of this webinar, usually we take less time, and what we try to do is we try to jump right into, you know, the thing that you're here for. So the Trade Ideas Trade of the Week algorithm. I want to talk a little bit about what this is. So this is a free service that we provide to everybody that is designed to introduce you to algorithmic idea generation, algorithmic technology, where we are looking for the best way to find supply and demand inefficiencies to take advantage of them to use our capital. So RGNX, first of all, just again, real quick, is everyone able to see my screen? Hopefully, I'm sure Scott would have told me, but just let me know, real quick. Anybody? Yes? Okay, thank you, Lee. Okay, so the whole concept of alpha is getting into a point where something interesting is happening, something interesting, different, and taking advantage of it. So RGNX, it happens to have been a great example of the type of algorithmic action that we're looking for. So we're looking for a trend change. This is part of why we have this window, and these are the windows that I'm going to be talking about, because they're the ones that feed the algorithm. Okay, so these windows are the windows that feed the system that eventually finds our Trade Ideas Trade of the Week, and some of what's in here is also feeding our artificial intelligence channel, which is out and now giving people trades, and just again, the next evolution of our technology. So RGNX, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the charts, and obviously for those of you that know about trade ideas, we have charting, we have testing, and we show you the entire market. So these channels that are on here are ways that you can move around the market. You know, during market hours, you would come and you would go to the pre-market channel, see what was gapping up or down. I'm going to get back there, but what I want to do is I'm going to save kind of like the overview for the end, because so many of you people are already customers, and we're incredibly excited about that. So the idea is that there's quite a, if you look at the difference, the basis point difference between the low point here at 1397 and the point right here at 1803, what you're seeing is already an annualized return that's better than anything you would get, you know, in the market. Our job is to find it, help you find this, and hopefully have it continue, you know, so that you can just completely outperform what's out there. And we're using technology to do it. So the three windows that are feeding the different components to the trade of the week are looking for this type of action, where you see a trend change. Okay? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to talk about, there's one that, so you're seeing a couple of different windows. This is a customized layout that I have, and I am running just on top lists for this webinar, because this webinar is much more about ideas than it is about functionality. I want to help you guys find something that, number one, can make you money, and number two, if you don't have trade ideas yet, maybe you can pay for the subscription by itself. So the Float Runners Modified is a window, and notice again, you're going to see a lot of customized data points, like change in the 30-minute and relative volume. All of these things have to be present in a certain way for a stock to show up here. And by the way, this list is limited to just these names. So what I want to do is I want to go one by one and show you what's going on and why, again, I think this is so important for you guys to see. So let's start with, let me go back to, okay, MELI, MELI, Mercado Libre. Okay, so here again, what you're seeing is, now there's different ways to get the kind of RGNX pattern, but I'm going to kind of zoom it into this way, and let's see, let's draw, insert trend line. Okay, so I'm going to, come here you, So I'm going to grab this trend line and I'm just going to kind of draw it out here. This is a very, very basic, thing that I'm doing. There's really nothing exciting about this trend line other than it is actually a trend line. Stock has not been above it, and all of a sudden it has crossed. So this is part of what goes into effect in the trend change lubricant. But it's not that simple, because what's going on here is it's what's happening at these base levels. You have to have a move up, a retracement, and then a subsequent penetration, then a subsequent retracement, and then a move higher. This is the hallmark of one of my favorite types of trades, because again, what I like about it, now obviously this is a $100 stock and everything, it all depends on what you're able to do, but in terms of percentages, beautiful pattern right here, and this is what we are looking for. This is how you stay ahead of the game. Okay, so the next one, and remember that the Trade of the Week webinar, this is where you can be writing down symbols, to have for tomorrow, and just things in your interest list. So Mercado Libre is definitely one. So then the next one, oh my goodness, DNAI, Pronai Therapeutics. So this one, it's a slightly different situation, but my goodness, do I love what this looks like if, again, and the future is not known, if it can work. So here you have a stock that's, doing what it's doing. It's channeling, tries to make a move up, and then fails, and then just misery. Bad news, bad news. This is just pain, 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 pain. And then you have digestion. Okay, I mean, you can kind of look at this. You can kind of look at this process right here is that digestive concept of where the supply and demand is trying to fix itself. What's going on? Okay, and then all of a sudden you start this this is why this this one's called float runners, but the trend change lubricant part of it, okay, is happening right here. But in reality, it's not ready yet. The thing is, it has to kind of get right above 21 for it to really start forming the pattern that we like to see, or maybe you retrace here and then start going. But this way, DNAI is definitely one for the list. So the other thing too is, so a little bit about how we're going to do this. So this webinar is usually about 40 minutes. And what I do is I go over all the Trade of the Week concepts. Scott is going to have his time, and then I'm going to do all the questions in the question and answer section. So again, my job here is to do less function and more stuff you're going to make money on. So MELI and DNAI are ones that, again, I'm a big fan of. And so this is the float runners list here. It's a very good list, and we can kind of go through it. So APAM. Here's one that is very similar to DNAI, okay, right? You can see that it's happening, but it's already here, okay? Whoops. So it did this thing, and this was the hallmark sign. And I know that, I haven't traded this one myself, but this has been on my list of things that I'm looking at, because hopefully this trend can continue all the way back to this range. So APAM, very, very important. All right, so now what I'm going to move is I'm going to move to this window, the trend change lubricant window. We're going to go through all three of these. So the next one on our list is high crush partners. Okay, again, one of my favorite types of patterns. Okay, and hopefully you can see why. So here again, let's look at this insert trend line, and let's kind of draw this trend out. Come here, you. I'm grabbing you. It doesn't like it when I grab it. Oh wait, hold on. Okay, here we go. So here again, you have this very long progressive downward trend line that actually was penetrated here. Okay, but then the stock went right to it, but on the other side. And here, okay, from 521, again, remember what I had said about if you're looking at the basis point gain on some of these moves from the bottom to the top, I mean, sometimes you're looking at 100%. And that's why this is one of my favorite types of plays. We are definitely algorithmically and visually looking for HCLP on the pullback, and hopefully it hasn't gotten away from us. Okay, let's look at the next one. MELI, a little bit more expensive, but we already covered it. Sorry, it was on the top of this one. This is what happens when the stock appears in multiple windows. That's why I was saying that I know I said it in the trend change lubricant window. I meant it started with an M, but this was the one that that I wanted to see. Okay, let me zoom out. So this is a very, very interesting one, MEIP, and this is another one that I think I brought up in our chat room today during the day. One of the things that I want to make sure everyone here knows. So we're all here to explore different names and to make money, but there's really no better way to do it with trade ideas during the day than in our live trading room, where Barry Einerson, who's our leader of the chat room, really goes through all of the trades that he's doing, but gives feedback on people's individual trades, as well as he's like our John Madden for the artificial intelligence engine. So when Holly's trading, Barry is kind of giving you a play-by-play, and that's one of the reasons why we believe that it's just beyond symbols. It's the whole support package. What we try to do here at Trade Ideas is incubate really the whole thing. You know, from when you start with us to how you get ideas, to how you are trained, to then actually placing trades with our own team that's assisting you to do it. So let's keep going down. Okay, CBMG. Now notice again these lists, right? It's algorithmic. That's why all this stuff looks very similar, but that's why it's so important to you know, to understand that these windows are kind of like your gateway to alpha. So you have so many ways to do it, but the way that we think is the best is not to really tinker around with it yourself, but just let us know and we can give you this type of layout. I mean, everything that's in here is available to all Trade Ideas customers. And the only thing you need to do, okay, the only thing you need to do is email info@trade-ideas.com and we will set you up with this type of layout. So have no fears about that, no issues about any of that at all. Okay, so next one, let's see, we did CBMG, GSAT. Okay, another, I mean, almost every single one of these, you know, you don't get to be on this list without having a reason. And again, here, notice we are trying to see these surges, the coming back. I mean, the only thing that I don't like about the stock is that it's so cheap. You know, these dollar plays, they're very tricky. For every gene that we had today, I mean, you have 20, 30 other failures. So it's not just as easy as simply finding this pattern, but one of the things that we're also trying to show you is that, you know, is some expectation. You can say, okay, well, look at this. I know if this thing is at 210 or 212, it's a no-brainer. You know, and you're looking for the volume to come in, but that's why at this webinar, what we're trying to do is we're trying to see the names to keep on our attention span. And there's quite a few because, again, setups are getting really good right now. Look at this one, ADMS. A perfect example of what we're trying to do. So here's one that would almost already be a Trade Ideas Trade of the Week candidate. So let me do this right now. Scott, why don't I give everybody just a small break? You come in, go over the price list, and then I'll come back and I'll take care of the rest of the show.
Yeah, it sounds good. Can you park it on slide 4 that shows the pricing? I think I had the update there. Yeah, so...
is it visible?
Yeah, you can full screen it if you want.
Okay, let me do that real quick. Okay.
Right, so as a lot of you already know, but not all of you, we're a software as a service company. So we operate on a subscription model. If you've been to some of these webinars before, you'd notice that that green box looks a little bit different. I've renamed the purchase of the odds maker to the AI strategies purchase. It's a one-time license. It still counts as the odds maker, but to make it more clear that it also includes AI, we've begun to switch over to that mode of communication. The 1100 gets you the lifetime odds maker. You can find trades that are performing in the market right now. And if you wanted to get kind of geeky about it and get in there and optimize your own strategies, the odds maker has all the tools that enable you to do that. You can learn what days of the week are the most profitable for your trading style, the stocks that are working the best for your strategies, and you can cut things out that you notice are making your returns kind of bleed out. For example, if you don't do well in the first 30 minutes of the market, there's no point in even starting that. So that's something that the AI strategies gives you, those strategies working right now, and also lets you work on your own strategies with the sophistication of the odds maker, which is the same technology that powers the AI engine. It's the same underlying server technology. Our monthly and our annual plans include all of the real-time data. That is, unless you're a professional trader. You'd know if you were, because you'd be trading on a Series 7 and trading other people's money. So usually our clients are not, although we do have some. The monthly is $99 per month, and the annual saves on that by giving it to you at $888 per year. You can also trial the odds maker, but not the AI strategies, on either the monthly or the annual plan. And another important factor is they include our new charting and our one-on-one training. So when you sign up, you need to go to support, click on training, and sign up to get a free hour of power training class. That'll help you learn how to set up according to your trading style and kind of get you on the fast track to learning the software really well. Of course, we also have support that's always available. We can always hop on a go-to-assist meeting with anyone that's having trouble if we can arrange that. If Dan's back from freshening up his coffee, he can pop on and let me know. If anyone of you have any questions about the pricing, go ahead and ask that. I'll be back on later after Dan's answered some questions for you to tell you how, to offer you something to thank you for showing up and show you how you can save tonight on either picking up the AI channel and the odds maker or getting into our monthly or annual plan. So if anyone has any questions about our
Sorry about that, Scott. I was a little slow on the draw.
No worries.
Whoops. Okay. So, I appreciate that. So now that we're going through, there's a few more names that I think are critical for next week if they can get through where they need to go. One of them is Court. And Court is one that, again, that we've been algorithmically kind of watching, and what I really like about it, first of all, is the therapeutics. I mean, this whole sector, if it goes, I mean, you're going to see quite a bit of movement. So first of all, that's one. It's in the right place, the biotech place. But second of all, so look at this area right here. And this is, again, if you're just talking about psychology, right? Let me expand this out. So this is another point where, you have this is like a movement where there was a washout. This is what a washout kind of looks like, where there's just panicking. I'm out, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out, and then a stabilization. This is exactly the kind of psychological behavior we are looking for. It's this right here on the daily, this 1, 2, 3. I mean, well, basically the whole month of October, this stock spent stabilizing, okay? And now it's like started to kind of perk up, is what we call this. So here at 420, I mean, we really like the way this closed, especially since it had, this is what you otherwise call a wide range bar. Could have, if it closed closer to lows, it could have looked just as ugly. But because the stock closed on highs, you're looking at a very, very strong candidate for the continuation. And again, especially if we can get some volume behind this, I mean, you're possibly looking, what we're basically trying to do is erase these washouts. Okay, and that's the critical component. If you can erase the washout, well then, I mean, sky's the limit. I mean, you just have to look at where these have been. And notice again, there was obviously a lot of positive catalysts that took place. I mean, this stock was very attractive. And by the way, I've talked about this whole notion of the hard right edge, and I really do want all of you guys to consider it, right? Look at this. So this is one of the things that I brought up in our Trade Ideas Trade of the Week webinar. I'm sorry, in our Q&A webinar, where I was explaining that here, this looks like the most strongest breakout of all. Look at this. You have all the telltale signs that people teach when buying breakouts. You have above average volume. You have no resistance. I mean, it looks so strong. Even here, you're asking yourself, well, maybe, you know, let it settle. Again and again. Maybe it's just a pullback. And you can see people are saying the same thing as me. Like people are saying, well, maybe it's at a support price. And here you go, and then cracks. And then cracks. I mean, and now it's just pure ugly. And this is and the reason I like to show this information is because it's so easy when educators are teaching people, they point you to stuff that's, you know, it's already all set up. Of course, like if you just see this move right here, notice the volume, and then everything looks good. Well, yeah, in hindsight, but never if you're looking at the hard right edge. So again, we're not telling anybody that you can predict the future. What we're telling you is that we want you to take advantage of it. Okay, so court definitely on the radar. So let's move on to another one of the windows. Let's see here. There's an okay. So I want to talk about one. Let me reset it. Okay, so here's one that I'm very upset about for myself because it was almost a Trade Ideas Trade of the Week, but it got something else passed it by. It was like somewhere right around here where we were looking at it. And let me put my crosshairs back in. So it was like right around here where we were looking at it, and basically the AI decided to go with another name, and because we looked at this was going to be a stall, and you're right at this area right here. I mean, it just goes to show you how each situation is so different, right? So it had this incredible move up, and then this little stall, and then boom, just took off. I really wanted to be in this one. I mean, this could have been a Trade of the Year candidate. I mean, look at that move, and this is what we're all here to do. This is why we're all here in the stock market. So I am looking to give you guys more options like KNDI, and hopefully not to miss it. Because again, in retrospect, I'm ashamed. You know, this was one of the ones that was certainly. I mean, it's been a very tricky and stock that's had a lot of volatility. But my goodness, what a run it has had right here. Okay, let's move on to another one. No. Okay, so this one is one that, oops. So this one is slightly different in that, again, the downward trend was not as big. In fact, like if you look at the bigger picture, right, you had this downward trend, and all of this is retracement, okay? Which is, again, this is a long time. I mean, unless you know something, you wouldn't want to be in a trade like that. But here, what we're seeing is this potential setup to go above this area. And if that goes, then you're talking about right back here where it seems like this whole initial move was taking place based on whatever it was that Lionbridge was trying to do back then. It could be coming to fruition. Okay, and again, this is how it looks. And again, we never believe at Trade Ideas because we've done too much analysis of the data. We don't believe that just because there's volume, that means there's going to be continuation. but it certainly can help. Okay, so it's definitely one to pay attention to. So AFCO is actually one that isn't, and I'll, well, let me see here. Let me minimize. Yeah, this one made the list just because of the pricing of where it's at, and one of our custom fields called the efficiency. But it's starting. See, like you have this downward move, and again, very few trading days. It's starting to try to retrace it, but again, not ready yet. Still on the list. This one, though, is definitely on the list. And again, I believe, if I hadn't mentioned it already, it was one of my favorites. Again, you're probably going to see me re-describe various stocks that come across on different windows. But okay, Tokai Pharmaceuticals, right here. Again, something similar where we said, and again, if I'm repeating, I apologize, but it's that whole downward move, and then you have this consolidation digestion with a subsequent move to the upside. The subsequent move to the upside is what we're looking for algorithmically, and specifically what we're looking for is, so this is the first push, kind of like the, and then we want to see what happens like after the exhale, like, when it takes a breath, and what happens then. So this is, again, definitely on our radar. Okay, so let's talk about this guy, ADXS. My goodness gracious, it's another one that needs to just be discussed. Okay, so first of all, we had been following ADXS all the way since here, and it was an incredible trade for a lot of trade ideas customers who have been trading in all sorts of directions. And look at this. This stock says so much about the stock market and the challenges and at the same time the opportunities of trading. Let's just first of all say that going from 5 to 30 in 6 months, it didn't make it easy on you. You know, let's start here at like, well, let's start like right here where at 538. Incredible move at the end of 2014 all through January, but then an incredible subsequent decline. And this looked amazing, but gosh, you would have not wanted to be in this if you were buying that. And it felt so terrible, and this is part of what I'm trying to say, is that you really have to be able to control the hard right edges of your entries, right? Over here it looks overbought, and it was, and this subsequent behavior made you feel like a fool. And this feeling can last. Like you right here, you're like, what an idiot I was for getting in here. Look, it tried, and it didn't break. But then, how did that happen? And now you're all the way back here. And now you are feeling like a fool, but in a completely different direction. So ADXS is a great example of look what happened, and look at what can happen in the stock market from, you know, in the course of roughly a year. You know. It's an incredible opportunity. And now that it's back on this list, so from, let's look at it, from June of 2015 when it reached a high of 30, I mean, it's been on a steady decline going all the way back to, my goodness, $8.08. But here, you've got that digestion, okay, that consolidation, the digestion. And now, and now we're possibly setting up to go again. And this is what we're kind of excited about. And these, I would say, this one, let's see, there's one more, BOX. The box, it's close, and you can see what we're looking at, right? See how it's starting? But this is definitely one to note because, I mean, the breakout's above $14. And RGLS, I think it's the finish of my presentation. Maybe I've saved the best for last. So RGLS, one of my favorite little patterns right here. Again, notice here, I mean, of all the ones that seem like you could really have a huge move to the upside, RGLS is definitely one of them because of this digestion that's happened for all of the month of October, and then you have this move. Okay. love this and also love knowing that your exit is basically, right. I mean, if you were going to hold it to really see what's going on, your exit would kind of be like right at the $6 level, okay? $6 level, but otherwise, if you can get here and can stomach just a little bit of volatility, you're potentially in great shape. All right, guys, so these are the trade of the week concepts. I really think that the key is to have this display available to you all during market hours, because you're constantly going back and forth. And of course, during market hours, I'm not just looking at the big picture, I'm also looking at, the smaller picture. And look at the availability of this trade today would have been incredible. Okay, just absolutely incredible. So I'm going to answer some questions, and then I think it's good to kind of call it, make the evening shorter than longer. So let's see what we have here. Let's see. Yeah, so there's a couple of things, guys. We want to share all of these data points as quickly as possible, like the layouts and everything else. But the thing is, some of them have a couple of custom data points that you just need to get from our office administrator, Marissa. And so the way to do it is, if you like what you see here, whether you're a subscriber and you want to subscribe and you want to get it, email Marissa at info@trade-ideas.com, or if you are currently a subscriber and you just want to have exactly what I have, same thing. Let her know, and we will hook you up with this exact layout. Okay, and these are the lists you want to have. This is where the most exciting stuff is happening. Okay, and our room and everybody at Trade Ideas, I mean, that's what we're all based on. So I don't want to make this part too salesy. Again, I think that you guys should know that, I mean, we believe we're the best in the game as far as giving you interesting ideas and monetizing those ideas. So let's take advantage together. One of the best things that we do is our support, and from Barry to Jamie to Marissa, myself, we're all involved with this 24/7, as well as Scott. So please, if you're on the edge, join us. Try it out. It's definitely the next generation of analysis, and hopefully, with a stock like RGLS or Court, you might get Trade Ideas to pay for it by itself. So Scott, do you want to finish up? I think we're good.
Yeah, why don't you put it on the slide that has the promotional code, and I'll direct everyone to look for a handout in your GoToWebinar interface. It's going to have a couple of pages on a PDF that have the same information in front of you now. And it's a way to say thank you to people for showing up. You can get the odds maker using that code for 30% off. That gets you the AI. And that's kind of bottom line for the best savings you can get right here. In addition to that, half off your first month. So there's that code, QAWEB. It all needs to be in caps to use it, with a 4 at the end. And that's going to take half off your first month, 20% off your first year, or 30% off your lifetime odds maker and AI strategy license. This code expires at the end of business on Friday, November 6th. You'll also get a follow-up email with this and a link to the replay of the webinar. Trade Ideas is an outstanding value for the amount of technology we're bringing to the table and the constant iteration and constant improvement that we've done. We iterate very fast. If you're not familiar with the Agile model, it's called an Agile development model, and it's constant iteration rather than a once or twice a year major release. So we'll do multiple releases in a year and very fast iteration of public betas. And that's something that our subscribers have really learned to appreciate. That and our public outreach. Barry, if you haven't gone to his trading room is great. Go to it. It's free to all of our subscribers, and the people who attend that room every day get a huge benefit from it. So again, if any of you have any questions, want the layouts or anything, email info@tradeIdeas.com, and just go ahead and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. It doesn't hurt, and you'll see some more information posted on Facebook that you might not see in our other channels, including our email. Follow Dan on Trade Ideas. At Twitter, he's Trade Ideas 1. Trade Ideas is our corporate account. Facebook, we're Trade Ideas Pro. Again, any questions, email info at, and that goes directly into our support software. So whether it's going to be Marissa, Dan, Brad, myself, or Barry answering it, the appropriate person will address it as quickly as possible. Again, thanks everyone. Have a fantastic night. Thanks, Dan. Talk to you tomorrow.